Hi, my name's Cece, and this is my car. I call him Pistol Pete. He's a 2005 Honda Civic, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to drive a stick shift. So the first thing you got to do is push your clutch in, then you just start your car. So right now, we're going to be going forward. After you start your car, you want to take off your emergency brake, because obviously you won't be going very far, very fast if that is on. If you accidentally leave it on, not a big deal, but you will quickly discover why you're not shifting very easily, why you're kind of going slow, and then you'll realize, oh, I left my emergency brake on. I'm actually going to turn around, so I'm going to use reverse. Some stick shifts, reverse is the same place, the same position as the first gear, and what you do is you push down, go all the way over, and then go like underneath first. But for mine, it's all the way to the right and down. That's reverse gear. So now we're going to go into first and we're going to take off. So the key to lifting off, taking your foot off the clutch, which is the most difficult part, obviously people talk about, you know, the feel of driving a stick shift all the time. There's what you may call a sweet spot. And that is as you're taking your foot off the clutch, you feel a little bit of force, or not force, a little bit of resistance, I guess. And once you start to feel that resistance, that's when you need to start pushing the gas and releasing the clutch more slowly. Getting into first gear is obviously the hardest part, and once you do that, it's pretty much a breeze. You're going into second, third, fourth, fifth. They're all like pretty easy after that. Same thing though, you want to find that sweet spot when you're shifting. You know, lift off the clutch until you find it, and then that's when you start to apply the gas. If you don't apply enough gas, you will be able to feel it. So let me see if I can do it without stalling. Well, that was the opposite effect. I put too much gas. So that's what you do. If you put too much gas, you're going to hear your engine rev, and you're not going to be going anywhere. Let me see if I can try to stall up here, which is not good for your car, so don't do that on purpose like I'm about to do, or at least attempt. But yeah, you'll kind of feel your engine telling you, like, give me gas, like, I want to go. So driving a stick's really cool because you kind of learn to listen to your engine and transmission and all that. I don't know anything about cars, so all right, let's see. Okay, see, I kind of did it right there. I don't know if you could tell at all. So yeah, so now I'm in second, and I'm going to be going all the way up to fifth because I'm going to be going 40 miles an hour on this road. So downshifting. Once you get all the way up to whatever like final gear you want to be in, you know, I'm in fifth right now, but if you're going to be going like just around the neighborhood, putzing around the neighborhood at like 20, 30 miles an hour, you might just want to stay in third or fourth. It's kind of just whatever you're feeling. A good indicator to know what gear you should be in is over here on your, you can't see it, but on my dashboard, it's the RPM thingy. It's right next to your speedometer. I'm sure there's a technical name for it. I just can't remember, or actually don't know what it's called. But it's the thing that tells you how fast your engine is spinning, I guess, in very non-technical terms. So you want to be right around the number 2, which is 2,000 RPM, or 2,000 reps per minute, I think is what that stands for. So that's a good place to know when you need to be shifting. If you're under that, if the little lever thingy is kind of hovering around the 1, then that means you need to shift down. That means you're in too high of a gear. But then if it's above the 2, if it's like near 3 or 4, that means that you need to shift up. So if I were to go down to 4th right now, see, okay, now it's above the 2 and it's heading towards the 3, and you can kind of hear that like of your engine getting higher pitched, and that means that you need to shift up. So now I'm cruising right at 2,000 RPM, so I'm doing good. Basically, I usually, whenever I drive, like 80 to 90% of the time, I'm like going to 5th gear, especially, you know, if you're gonna be driving on the highways, or really anytime you're going, I would say 40 miles or over, 40 miles per hour or over, you want to go in 5th gear. So here we go, I'm about to downshift. I'm gonna go on a turn right now. So what I do, I push in the clutch is in right now, and I'm in neutral. I don't know if you can see that. So we're gonna turn, and a good little tip is if you're making small turns, you want to downshift to 2nd gear. That's just an easy thing to remember. All right, I'm gonna make another turn here. I went up to 3rd for a split second, but now I'm going back down to 2nd, and we're turning right. So downshifting was kind of confusing for me at first, but you know, like everything, after a while you just kind of get used to it and you do it without thinking. So I'm going up to 5th gear right now, and I'm about to turn, so I'm actually going to go back down to 2nd. But so the clutch, so if you think about it, the way it was explained to me when I was taught how to drive a stick shift, is you think of the gears in the transmission. This is not my turn. So I'm going to stop right now, so I'm slowing down. And just side note, I'm in neutral right now, but because I know I'm going to be going in probably 30 seconds to a minute, you can go ahead and just put the car in first. The clutch is still in, so I'm not engaging the transmission or engine or whatever the heck it is. So I'm just kind of chilling right now because the clutch is in. So the way it works is, imagine that these are the gears of your car. When you push the clutch in, they go like this, so they're not connected. So if this is like your gas pedal and you're like, if I'm vrooming my engine right now. That's a really technical term. Like, this is like spinning like crazy because you're pushing the gas. If you're switching gears and like you need to shift, so you pull them apart and then you shift to another gear, so then this one changes, so then you have to match the speed with the gas. When you take the clutch out, you're starting to bring these two gears back together, and so that's why you need to match the speed of the gas, of the pedal that you're pushing, with the speed that the engine's already going. So you need to match those, that way they like start, like, they mesh and they don't stall or whatever. So when they stall, when the car stalls, what's actually happening, one gear is spinning, one gear is essentially not spinning because you're not pushing the gas hard enough, and so this one jams the one that's going and your car stalls. So that's the way that works. That's kind of, I'm a visual person, so when I was first learning, I kind of visualized like myself putting, and I still do actually, it's kind of fun, I kind of visualized like myself putting the gears together and then like matching that speed and shifting and all that stuff. I'm at a stoplight, so I put clutch in, I'm in neutral right now, I'm just kind of cruising. I can take my foot off the clutch because I'm in neutral. When you're taking a sharp turn, like right or left, go down to 2nd gear. That's an easy thing to remember. If you're turning left, so it's still a turn, so you still need to slow down, but it's not, as tight of a turn, so you don't need to slow down as much. You can go into 3rd gear. So that's usually for like a wide left turn. If you're, driving on the highway or something, and someone slams on the brakes ahead of you and you have to slow down just a little bit, but not crazy, then maybe you can go down to 4th, and then you can get back up. Oh, shoot, that's embarrassing. So that's how you stall your car. I didn't give it enough gas, and now we're going. Still happens to me, and I've been driving stick shift for about almost a year, about 9 months. If you want to pass someone on the highway, think of it if you're like riding a bike. So you put it in a higher gear and it's harder to pedal, right? You put it in a lower gear and it's like super, 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 super easy. So if you're on the highway and you need to pass someone, and you try to do it in 5th gear, it's probably not going to work very well, because it's like you're trying to bike uphill in 5th gear, or like in a high gear, and you're going to have to pedaling really, really hard. You're not going to be able to accelerate very fast. But if you go into a lower gear, like when you're going up a hill, it's like suddenly really easy to accelerate up that hill. So if you're trying to pass someone, go down to 4th gear. Another question, maybe just like the logistics of shifting. Like, how do you know what gear you're in? Well, one thing you can do is kind of look to see if it's pointed up or down. Right now I can see that it's pointed up, and I know that I'm going 43 miles an hour and I'm only doing just under 2,000 RPM. So I'm gonna guess that I'm in 5th gear right now. So that's a good thing that I do. Sometimes, did I shift in the 5th gear? I can't remember, because I just do it so absentmindedly. You just, take a look and it's like, okay, there I am, I'm good. Say right now, I was like, oh, I want to go into 3rd. Well, 3rd's in between 1st and 5th, so it's not as easy as going all the way over, all the way, you know what I mean? It's like in the middle. I'm gonna go back into 5th. So it's kind of just a feel thing. Like, you just kind of know, like, oh, that's the middle, that's that slot right there. You can just kind of feel it. Crazy woman driver! Just kidding. I don't know, I love driving a stick shift. I hope you like it as much as you will. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments down below. I'm not an expert. I like to think I'm pretty good at driving a stick. Like I said, I've been doing it for the past 9 months. I learned how to do it after a couple days. I was cruising around the neighborhood. I have no idea where I'm going, by the way. I was cruising around the neighborhood, just kind of like practicing. Stopping and going is like the hardest part. So getting into 1st gear, I guess, is the hardest part. But once you get that down, like, you're like a champion. And then so like after a week, I was like braving out into the rest of the city and like stoplights and whatever. So it took me about, we'll say, 2 weeks to get like totally comfortable. yeah, you're gonna stall. It's gonna happen. I stalled 5 minutes ago. Everyone who's learning to drive a stick, it's gonna happen to you, so don't be embarrassed. Yeah, so I'm at my stop now, and I'm gonna go ahead and park. Also took me a while to learn how to do reverse, so don't worry about that. It's the same as going into first gear, just backwards, so I'm still not very good at going into reverse. But see, okay, so what did I do? I pulled into the parking spot. I'm in neutral right now, so I can take my foot off the clutch because because the engine isn't going anywhere because it's in neutral. So I know the thingies are back together. I'm gonna put on my emergency brake. Some people, they like to leave it in first, and then they just turn their car off and take the foot off the clutch and whatever. I don't do that because I don't know, but just keep that in mind, because if you ever take your car to a mechanic or let your friend drive a car or drive your friend's car and they do that, then just keep that in mind, that when you're starting it and you automatically take your foot off the clutch because you're used to doing that, and then the car stalls and you're like, what just happened? Lots of embarrassing stories with that. But anyway, I leave my car in neutral, put the parking brake on, and then, you know, just turn your car off. Just like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, leave your comments in the comments. Leave your questions in the comments down below. We're gonna do this number because I'm cool like that. I hope you got something out of this video. I had fun making it. Bye.